Hi everybody, my name is Stefano and today I want to show you what I've just got through the mail, through a parcel. Is a package of I think 7 orchids from Spicesotic, which I bought from before, but I thought I'd show you what I received today. I bought a few orchids that I'm not that familiar with, to be honest. A few of like very commonly known ones, and a few that are just kind of new for me. So this is, if I can just find the tag, I believe that this is a Cattleya. This is a Cattleya Monte Elegante simple. And as you can see, it was shipped per roots, and that's gonna be interesting. I don't know if I'm going to mount it on something or I'm going to keep it like this. I think that they are plants that are quite resilient to drought, and so it may be a good idea with a greenhouse to keep it without anything, without even a mount. I don't think that it looked too aesthetically pleasing, so at the very least I would like to put it on a piece of cork possibly. But it seems like the growth is quite compact. I can see that this has been taken, there have been quite a few snips here and there, so I wonder if this was a mother plant at some point. But anyways, this is quite a nice specimen. It looks quite thirsty, so I want to soak in water for quite a while and see if I can get some more hydration in these bulbs. I'm really looking forward to the flowers of this plant. Should be really pretty looking. It's a bit unstable. Something a bit different. This, to be honest, I was attracted from the color of the flowers. They look very interesting. Now the name of this, I actually didn't know that this existed. It's a Perreiraara varachayo, I think it's pronounced. It's a mix of quite a few actually different vanda-like plants. As you can see, it looks quite vanda-like. It was shipped by roots, and I kind of have the same ideas as I had for that one. I wonder whether I will be mounting it, whether I will put it in a pot. Usually these plants don't like to be in a pot. Maybe I will build myself a basket to put it in. But yeah, very pretty, quite big specimen, I would say. This is a Cattleya amethystoglossa. Sorry, one word about how I pronounce these names. I'm Italian, and I've studied a little bit of Latin in school, unfortunately, because it's a waste of time, to be completely honest with you. But we pronounce certain things in a certain way, and I really struggle to say the English version. So if I say any of these names that sounds very bizarre, that's because I pronounce it in what I believe is more closely to be like Latin. Even though I've been researching about this, and apparently you're not required to pronounce these names with Latin pronunciation, so who knows. Anyways, this weirdly is is one of the parents of this other Cattleya here, the one that we looked at earlier, and that's quite wobbly. A much smaller specimen, but it's going to be very similar. And anyway, I like the color of the flower so much that I thought I'd give it a try. This is a botanical orchid, meaning this is what you would find in nature, that has been hybridized. And again, I think he has maybe at least 6 different parents. But yeah, I think that the flowers will be relatively similar, but I really like them, and I didn't actually realize that this was one of the parents of that plant. But obviously I like the flowers of both of them, and that's why I have got both of them. But yeah, I wanted to try my luck at Cattleyas a little bit more, so that's why I bought 2 of them. Talking about Cattleyas, similar but not quite Cattleya, we have Laelia, anceps, I believe that is pronounced oaxaquena. This is a white version of this Laelia, which is apparently quite popular, and I'm expecting quite a lot from it. I've been spending quite some time picking out these old sheets, which I find quite satisfying, to be honest. I do wonder what is the evolutionary purpose of these sheets, to be honest, because certainly the plants would want to photosynthesize from the green parts in the pseudobulb underneath. So I do wonder what is the purpose of it. But yes, it came in this basket, which is gonna make it interesting, I believe. I mean, it definitely gets a lot of variation, and since this plant has pseudobulbs, I'm assuming that it is not going to want too much water. I also read that this plant is awesome in being adjustable to different temperatures, and so I'm hoping that it's gonna be a very easy grower, and I'm interested to see what is gonna come out of this. But yeah, very interesting. I would say quite a big specimen. I'm quite happy with it. Okay, so let me make some space. Now moving on to the smaller, we here have a Bulbophyllum grandiflorum. This is quite small. I think it's definitely gonna be able to make a flower. I read somewhere that this is that the flower does have a foul smell, which I'm not terribly looking forward to, but according to some people it's not that bad. So the leaves feel very hard. The pseudobulbs look like they could be a little bit more plump. But yeah, pretty nice small plant. I'm looking forward to seeing the flower from this, if it's gonna flower this year. He has a little growth coming out, and I believe there's also a little passenger spider. Yeah, there's a little spider in there. I don't gonna bother him. I don't mind it. I wonder if I should replant it in a basket. I'll see about that. But yeah, Bulbophyllum grandiflorum. The flower of that plant should be very big, as the name suggests, so that should be interesting. We then get into another supposedly easy plant, Leptotes bicolor. This is majus. I'm not terribly sure how to pronounce this, but it is a very interesting plant that, just judging by the shape of the leaves, it is supposed to be able to endure a lot of drought and harsh sun. So I'm a little bit surprised to see that not only didn't come mounted, but it also came in this very fine bark. So that is surprising to me, but anyways, I'm looking forward seeing how this is gonna grow. I can see there are a lot of little growths on this side, so very interesting plant. I'm quite happy with it. It's pretty small, which is kind of what you want in a greenhouse, but I'm not gonna need a magnifying glass either. The last plant that I received is an Angraecum leonis, and this looked very interesting looking plant with a very interesting flower. Now, I think that, to be honest, this plant is bigger than I expected it to be. I expected it maybe a little bit smaller. There is also a second growth here on the side, so that's pretty cool. My only complaint about it really is the fact that it came in this plastic mount that I think is shaped to look like, I'm not sure if it's meant to be like a wood or fern or whatever, but I don't like it. I think it's rather ugly, to be completely honest. So I do generally worry that it may be quite traumatic for the plant to be removed from its mount. What I could do maybe is that I'm gonna cut as much as possible of this plastic and then put it on some cork, which I find is very aesthetically pleasing, is quite renewable, and it is very good at degrading slowly. So I think cork is kind of the golden standard nowadays, and hopefully, if I'm careful, I can remove a lot of these roots that have now stuck to this plastic and move it to a better looking mount. Other than that, I think that this plant, to be honest, looks very interesting without even a flower. The flower should be the classic white flower with night fragrance. The leaves are, I find, I think it's quite a striking looking plant. So I'm happy with that. And that is it. So these are the 7 plants that I bought from Spicesotic. I bought from them quite a few times now, and I'm always been quite happy. To be honest, this mount is the only thing that I haven't quite liked of all the plants that I bought from them. So not too bad, right? I would recommend. Thank you.